Hello everyone, this is Angela.
Hello, this is Richie. This is the Fan of Football 13 YouTube channel. We're going to do things a little bit different this week. We're going to actually combine our weekday picks with my preview. So there are 6 games during the weekday this week, and including one on a Tuesday game. This is about the time of year they start popping up Tuesday and Wednesday games. So we're going to pick the games for the week, and I'm going to break it down as we're picking it. So the first game for the weekday is the Tuesday game. It's Appalachian State Mountaineers and Arkansas State Red Wolves. So I'm going to break it down and then we'll pick them. I have a bunch of stats here. Appalachian State, Arkansas State are 2 of the best teams in the Sun Belt. They've, over the past basically 6 or 7 years, one of them has won the Sun Belt Conference or shared it. Arkansas State primarily has been the one that has actually won it. But Appalachian State, this should be a really good game because Appalachian State, they're number 3 in the nation in scoring offense. They're, the top 15 in everything, in scoring offense, rushing offense, scoring defense, rushing defense, passing defense, total defense. Everything is top 15 all across the board. They have a really good running back with Jalen Moore, who's run for over 1,000 yards the last 2 seasons. Their quarterback, Zach Thomas, he's a new starting quarterback, but he's doing really well. He's kind of a game manager, but he keeps that offense rolling. Arkansas State, they normally have a really good passing game, a really good offense. This year, actually, top 21 passing offense. Their quarterback, Justice Hansen, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the group of 5 in terms of passing yards. The kind of difference here is Arkansas State's defense is not too great. Technically, they're number 5 in the nation in passing defense, but they're 124th in rushing defense. So the reason why they're so high in passing is mostly because the teams are able to run it for so much and move the ball in them that way, and then they're passing it less, which makes the passing defense look better for Arkansas State. But to be fair, they are in top 10 in sacks and top 20 tackles for losses. So even though their defense statistically is giving them a bunch, they can still create problems. They have 2 defensive linemen. That Raheem Bingham, he's got 5.5 tackles for loss, and Dejon Emery has 5.5 tackles for loss. So they could possibly pressure either the quarterback or tackles for loss. They can get tackles in the backfield, like on the running back and stuff. And if Appalachian State, they're the number 9 rushing offense in the country, maybe Arkansas State's defensive line can hold them. All that being said, I'm picking Appalachian State for this. I think just overall, they're a better team. This should be a really, really good game, though. One of the Sun Belt games of the year, maybe. It has the potential to be really high scoring, to go back and forth. But I'm going to Appalachian State.
I'll go for Arkansas State.
Arkansas State? All right, now we're going to the Thursday games. The first one, we'll go with Georgia Southern Eagles taking on the Texas State Bobcats. There's not a lot. Georgia Southern, they're actually, they're kind of surprising. They're 4-1 so far. They'd beaten Arkansas State actually a couple weeks ago. Georgia Southern, a couple seasons ago, they were one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. They're one of the best offenses in the country. Then last year they took a dive. They only won, I think, two or 3 games. Their coach actually got fired halfway through, and then the guy that took over ended up winning 2 of the last 3 games and kind of turned them around. And then going into this season, they've picked up really well. They're 4-1. They're number 7 in the nation in rushing offense. They're number 17 in the nation in scoring defense. They're tied for 6th in turnover margin, which means they've forced a bunch of turnovers and not turned it over as much.
So Georgia Southern has had drama and still are coming out.
Yeah, they're coming out really, really well. Their quarterback, Shea Wertz, there's kind of more of a triple option team. Not completely dedicated like the Navy or Army would be. They pass a little bit more, but Shea Wertz, he's their quarterback. He's got 369 rushing yards already, 6 touchdowns. the running back Wesley Fields. He's a really good running back. Texas State, unfortunately, they don't have a ton. Their defensive back, I can shout him out, Cordell Rogers. He's got 5 passes defensed so far, but their turnover margin, they're 85th in the nation, which means they've lost 5 fumbles and thrown 5 interceptions, which isn't very good. And they're not forcing the turnovers defensively. So their scoring defense or rushing offense defense, they're kind of average to below average. The only thing I can say, they have a punt returner, Hutch White, who's top 25, top punt returner in the nation, but they're going to need more than him. So I'm going to go Georgia Southern in that one.
I'm actually going for Georgia Southern as well.
Alright, so the game of the night for Thursday anyway, and it has the potential to be a shootout, depending. Texas Tech Red Raiders against the TCU Horned Frogs. There's caveat to this. Quarterback Alan Bowman, he was number 5 in the nation passing, but he had a lung injury, so they're not sure if he may still start and play. They're thinking he very well could. And now they have their backup Jet Duffy, who filled in well enough a couple weeks ago against West Virginia. So this kind of depends on a few things. If Bowman's playing, I think they have wide receiver Antoine Wesley. He's one of the best wide receivers in the country. Texas Tech, over the last 18 years, they've always been one of the best offenses in the country. They're not number 9 in scoring. They're the number 2 passing offense. They're the number 1 total offense in the country. But TCU, normally they have one of the better defenses in the country. Usually they're top 5, 10. They're kind of slipped a little bit, but they're still 27th in scoring defense. So Texas Tech is averaging 48 points a game, but TCU is only giving up 20 points a game. So it's a good matchup. The passing offense, that's what Texas Tech does, is they pass. They're number 2, but TCU is 23rd in the nation in passing defense. And the total defense, number 1 versus number 12, basically. So it's a really interesting matchup of really good offense versus really good defense. And on the flip side, Texas Tech, their defense isn't great. And TCU's offense this year, the past couple years, TCU's offense has been one of the nation's leaders. But this year, they kind of have fallen back. Their offense is only 64th in total offense, 56th in scoring. Their quarterback, Sean Robinson, he's thrown 6 interceptions, which is kind of high. They've only picked off 2 passes as a team, and against a passing team, they're going to need to intercept the ball. They're number 126th in turnover margin, which means they're turning the ball over way too much.
The Texas Tech offense and TCU defense, that's what's good on each side.
That's kind of the matchup of the night, is if TCU can slow down Texas Tech. TCU can potentially put up some points. It just the quarterback plays Sean Robinson. When he's on, but he turns it over a little too much. This is one of the things where special teams could be a plague. TCU does have Convante Turpin. He's number 4 in the nation in punt returns right now. He's got 4 career punt returns for touchdowns and 1 kick return for a touchdown. So 5 total returns for touchdowns in his career, and that's the record is if I remember right, is 9. Total. And so he's a really dangerous return guy. He's also a receiver as well, so he can do something on offense too. So their defense could keep him in it if Turpin can set them up with really either long punt and kick returns and or score at least one of them. That could help keep things. TCU, they're tied for 8th in the country in sacks, which with Texas Tech, how much they'll be passing. That could be a difference.
Sounds like a coin flip.
It kind of is. Texas Tech, they're tied for number 13 tackles for loss as a team. I'll shout out the defensive back for TCU, Ennis Gaines. He's got 7 total passes defensed, which with Texas Tech passing it, you might have a shot. But then we got defensive back for Texas Tech, Adrian Fry. He's tied for 2nd in the nation with 11 passes defensed, which is interceptions plus pass breakups. So he has 3 interceptions on the year and 8 pass breakups. So all that being said, I'm actually going to go, even if Alabama doesn't start, I'm still going to go with Texas Tech to win. Mainly because I don't quite trust TCU to not turn over. I think they might make a few too many mistakes.
I'll go for Texas Tech.
Alright, so those are the Thursday games. Now we'll go into the Friday games. The first one is the USF Bulls and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. USF, their running back Jordan Cronkite is coming off this huge game, one of the national players of the week, probably most likely. He ran for 302 yards in the last game, which is a school record. And not only that,
In one game.
In one game. Yeah, it's a school record for running back in one game at USF. Not only that, put it this way. Right now he's got 606 rushing yards in the season, which means before that game he had 304. So basically in one game he doubled it up. So
he's fast.
Yeah, he's really fast. He's a former Gator. He transferred to USF. Their quarterback Blake Barnett for USF, he's got 9 touchdowns to 4 picks, and he's run for had 5 rushing touchdowns. USF, their offense is basically in the top 30 in scoring, rushing, passing, and total offense, whereas Tulsa's defense is number 92 in score defense, 110th in rush defense. They're 15th in pass defense, mainly because everybody's running all over them. They're 66th in total defense. To be fair, they have linebacker Cooper Edmiston. He's got 3 interceptions, one of the nation's leaders. Basically, Tulsa, for USF anyway, they have Josh Black's got 4 sacks. Mike Hampton, he's 3rd nationally in passes defense. Tulsa they have the potential to have a pretty good rushing game. Corey Taylor II's got 411 yards rushing and like 152 last week. Then another running back, Shamar Brooks, had 375. But they have 2 quarterbacks, Luke Skipper, and another one is started with them to kind of go back and forth, but they've thrown more interceptions than touchdowns.
In Tulsa?
Yeah. So basically, their turnover margin, they're 125th in the nation, which means they're turning it over a lot and not getting them. I think USF should win. I think pretty easily in this one. Tulsa they have potential on offense to keep it close. If I remember, they kept it close last week with Houston for a little while, but then Houston went away. But I'm going USF.
I'm going to go USF as well.
All right, 2 more games. The next one, Air Force and San Diego State. San Diego State's coming off a huge win. They beat Boise State in Boise, which you don't do often. Like, over the last 18 years, Boise State's lost something like between 5 and 10 home games. I'd have to check. Basically, they don't lose at home. San Diego State without Jawan Washington at running back, who's been injured. They went in and they won 19-13. Their defense just stuffed Boise State. And San Diego State, they have the number 23 scoring defense. They have the number 2 rushing defense. They have the number 17 total defense. Their defense is always one of the best in the country. Their offense isn't normally great. They usually have a really, really good running back. And even with Jawan Washington out, Chase Jasmine, he should fill in pretty well. He had 78 the other day, 94 the week before, over 100 before that. And that's just as he was the backup. They're tied for 8th in the nation with interceptions, but they're facing Air Force, who they don't really throw the ball. They're one of the best rushing offense. They're number 14 in the country in rushing offense. They're coming off a really big win against Navy. They beat them 35-7. They killed them. Air Force, they have a new quarterback, Donald Hammond III. He just started last game and he was really good. They passed a little bit because Air Force is a triple option team, so normally their running game is really good. But they're able to pass it a little bit. It's funny, I wrote it down that they're 125th passing offense in the country. But it's the highest of the military schools because they all do the triple option. And Air Force has always kind of been that way, that even though they've done a triple option, they've always passed a little bit more than normal for that offense. But that being said, in my head, I want to go with San Diego State because I know they just beat Boise. They're really good. Air Force, though, is number 3 in the nation in time of possession, which means they keep the ball to themselves. They have the ball for longer, which means because their defense is actually top 30 in number 30 scoring, number 13 in rush, number 29 in total. And part of that is because their offense has the ball for so long. Their defense, A, stays fresh, and B, actually on the field less and giving up less yardage and less points. One key, I think, to this game, Air Force has a punt returner, Ronald Cleveland. He's the top 25. So for a game that should be really defensive, a lot of running, the keys would be forcing turnovers and on the special teams with punt returns, either field position, like if he can return it well enough either for a touchdown or at least to give Air Force shorter fields.
Ronald Cleveland.
Yeah, Ronald Cleveland. He's the punt returner for Air Force. So I'm actually going to go with San Jose State may be ranked. We're recording this early. At the very least, they're 4-1, the tops in the Mountain West right now, especially after beating Boise State. So if Air Force wins, it would be an upset, and I'm actually going to go with that. I think Air Force I think they're going to pull this out.
I'm going for Air Force too.
Just looking at everything on paper, I'm siding with Air Force. All right, the final game on Friday night. The Arizona Wildcats and Utah Utes, both of them are coming off nice wins. Arizona beat Cal, and it was actually their defense that got it. They beat them 24-17, and they had 2 defensive touchdowns, which one of them is the craziest plays ever. The Arizona guy intercepted the ball, and as he was running back, a California guy actually knocked it out, and it bounced way ahead. And then another Arizona guy picked it up and ran it the rest of the way for the touchdown. It's one of the craziest plays. You have to look it up. Utah Utes, though, they're coming off a huge win. They upset number 14 Stanford 40-24. Their defense is pretty much shut down. Shut them down. Utah, they're known for Sack Lake City, even though they're not quite Sack Lake City this year. They're in the middle nationally. But they are in the top 20 in tackles for losses and number 10 in passes defensed. Normally, the Utah defense is really good. They're 15th in scoring defense, number 3 in rushing defense, and number 10 in total defense. And Arizona, even they're kind of in the 40s, 50s, 60s in terms of offense. Total offense this year. Normally, they're really good. They have the potential to put it on any time. Khalil Tate at quarterback. I had him as a Heisman guy coming in. He kind of started slow early. He's picked up more as a passer, actually. He's still kind of got injuries running the ball, so he's not quite running as well, but he's actually passing it really well. And they have running back J.J. Taylor. He's got 600 rushing yards. He's top 20 nationally in rushing. So it could be another decent offense versus good defense kind of thing. Because Arizona State's kind of average in defense, and Utah's kind of average in offense. Although they do have a running back, Utah. Zach Moss, 549 rushings. He's in the top 25 in rushing. Both the quarterback for Utah, he's a good dual threat, Tyler Huntley, even though Khalil Tate, I think, is the better overall quarterback. I'll just shout out a few more things. Linebacker Chase Anderson for Utah, 6th nationally with 10 tackles for loss. Linebacker Colin Schooler for Arizona. He's number 3 nationally with 11.5 tackles for loss. I kind of going back and forth. I'm going to give the edge to Utah because it is in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, it's especially a night game, Friday night. It's a hard place to play. Utah, they beat a really good team in Stanford. Arizona had a nice win, but like I said, they had 2 defensive touchdowns. They have the potential on offense, but they've been really inconsistent. So I'm going with Utah to win.
I'll go with Utah.
All right, so those are our weekday picks and previews, and then we're coming back at you with just our Saturday picks. That'll be a lot shorter. We're not going to break down all the Saturday games in that one. It'll just be picks, and then I'll break down the Saturday in my own previews. So check out that. Go to our Twitter. Go to our Facebook page, Fan of Football 813. Like, subscribe, share this stuff.
Please subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe, share it. And Facebook, if anybody sees this on Facebook, I appreciate you guys have been liking my Facebook updates and my statuses, but then y'all don't go to the actual video. So I had like 10 to 15 likes on my things, but like 3 views. Because everybody's liking my Facebook page, which is good. But please go to my video. We need the views on the videos.
As well.
As on all the other videos, everything. So, alright, thank you. We will be back. Peace.